drama series.
National Emmy for Drama Series goes to
Delhi Crime.
Oh my God.
First of all, collective congratulations to the entire team of Delhi Crime. Now's the time to cheer and just, let it all out. Congrats.
Oh my God!
Yay!
Thank you. I really wish I was with all of you guys.
This project was led by women. It was financed and put together and released by women. This crime was solved by women. This is for the courage of those women and all the women who not only must endure the violence that so many men inflict on them, but are then tasked with solving the problem.
You dedicated this to all the women, and I want you to expand on that a little bit more because this really is a win for all women.
The reason I did this show was because I wanted to take the point of view not of the women as victims, but women who are basically trying to solve the problem that we men have created for them. And so to me, it was really important to identify the fact that it's the reason that the show exists, that the show is based not on crime and terror and tragedy, but based on compassion.
What happened?
We don't have the details yet, but I don't know, there's just something not right.
The first time I saw a man come up with a perspective that was, so fully for the women and, really trying to bring out a story that none of us really knew. We all knew about Jyoti, we knew the victim, but we didn't really know about Chaya and what she had done and how she had solved this. So, just to see Richie come up with that perspective on a tale that we all had heard and, still give us hope on that story with a woman leading it was, I think, the, most crucial thing about the retelling of this, sad incident.
We have 2 victims. बस पर 6 लोगों ने पर हमला किया. इस लड़की के साथ जो हुआ है मैंने पहले कभी नहीं देखा.
Shefali ji, you mentioned in one of your Facebook posts that you really felt like it was all real and that you were actually making a difference when you put on that uniform and started walking around set.
I walked taller. And like Pooja said and like she said, the story is not just about pain and angst and the cry for justice, but it was also about serving justice. And the fact that a woman, I did not know about this part of the incident at all, where a woman, it's a strange balance between a woman fighting for another woman and getting that justice. And I just walked taller. I think, according to me, Vartika became a face of an emotion all of us very strongly felt when this incident happened. It was pain, it was anger, it was frustration, it was angst, and it was a cry for justice. The only, the advantage of standing in those shoes was there was some kind of power to serve that justice.
अगर पहले 7 या 10 घंटों में हमने सस्पेक्ट को नहीं पकड़ा, तो सारे के सारे गायब हो सकते हैं. तुम विक्टिम की उम्र के सबसे करीब हो. उसकी फैमिली को जरूरत है कि ऐसी किसी इंसान के साथ रहे जिससे वो रिलेट कर सके.
And Rasika, how did you feel when you donned the uniform and you were on set with this group of women? How empowering was that for you as Rasika Dugal?
It reminded me of myself in Delhi University college days, where I believed that something that I did with sincerity and honesty could change the world. And that's what I love about Neeti, and I love revisiting her for that reason. So that to me was very empowering.
Madam Sir, I'm not sure if I'm...
You can. If she was my girlfriend, I would have died for her.
And Rajeshji, what about you on set when you were surrounded by this group of people? What was it like that you felt like on a daily basis?
Being a Delhiite, मैंने बहुत करीब से देखा ये जब निर्भया इंसिडेंट हुआ था और हम सब लोग कितने इसके बारे में कुछ करना चाहते थे. As normal citizens of Delhi, and मेरे ख्याल से it was a global issue and पूरे इंडिया में भी और बाहर भी करना चाहते थे. तो through this, I think it was a cathartic experience, sort of a cathartic experience कि किसी तरह से आप अपनी उस तकलीफ को या इस इश्यू के बारे में जो कुछ भी कहना चाहते हैं उसको एक सेंसिटिव तरीके से एक कह पाएं.
We've been ordered to blow the police apart.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
It's about our political masters covering their own hides.
But there are greater powers at play.
I want to ask each and every one of you, what this win specifically means for the film fraternity in India, what it means for directors, what it means for actors, what it means for the next generation of content creators. I want to start with you, Richie. What kind of doors do you think this win opens up?
There's a precedence that's been set that Indian content can go global, that it can be received, understood, and not just, it's not just an entirely Western point of view going into India, doing something under the guise of exoticism and then leaving, and then getting that recognition. This is an entirely Indian point of view, an Indian story made by Indian talent. And I think if that leads the way for other young filmmakers or people in India who are aspiring to go global, then I think it's amazing.
There is nothing we could have done.
So everyone in the city is wrong?
एक माँ से एक माँ की रिक्वेस्ट प्रॉमिस कीजिए मुझे उन सबको सिर्फ फांसी ही होगी.
I promise.
And Pooja, for you, this is Film Caravan's first series that you've taken on in a producerial capacity. What does this mean for you personally and for your company?
It's a very difficult battle to choose what your core audience is for anything that you're trying to make. But that's always the most important question before you venture in. I think Richie knew very clearly he was coming with all heart, very, very authentically, factually checked material, which, is essential. And on top of that, the tone and the treatment that, he was applying was not necessarily what a lot of us in India were used to for this kind of storytelling. And it was a risk, but it was the right thing to do. And we stood behind him and his vision. And both our, other producers, Golden Caravan and Ivanhoe, that came on board also had that approach of understanding of how this content can really be seen outside India.
Rasika, for you, I want to find out, when did you know kind of, in your heart that this was something really special and this was going to create this kind of a momentum and change? Was there a moment that you kind of knew that this was really, really going to be something big that you were working on?
It's hard to describe those moments because you kind of surprise yourself and you didn't even realize you were so immersed and invested in this world. And as an actor and as a creator, that's always something that you desire deeply. And I think that moment for me was when Neeti Singh goes to the protest at India Gate, and she's in front of these water cannons. And when I did that shot, I had this moment where I was stumped. I was like, all these people standing in front of me are actually against the police, and we're really, really trying hard to do our job. That's what I felt. And I was like, as a civilian in India, you've sort of grown up sort of criticizing the system and criticizing the police service. And if I could at that time feel so invested in the story that I would feel that about Neeti and the job that she was doing, I felt that was really, as an actor, as a performer, a moment of truth which you don't find in every project.
What about you, Richie? What was an example for you where you had that kind of, I guess, not aha moment, but just a surreal moment where this was, bigger than what you had imagined, maybe?
I mean, in terms of scale, sure, it was bigger than the stuff I'd done before, and certainly the stuff we did at the riot stuff at India Gate was pretty crazy, especially when the extras are so into it that when you call action, a mini riot starts. Those moments were really quite stunning. But throughout the shoot, obviously you're so focused on just getting it, that you're just focused on each moment. It was in the edit I started to see it come together. And the moment for me in the edit, the first episode we had edited was the last episode. Normally you start chronologically, but we wanted to do the end first and see what we have and then work towards it. And to me, it was the moment when there's this constable character who we start the whole show with, Ram Pratap. When he comes home, it's a very small scene at the very end when he comes home to his wife, and she says, "You didn't tell me you were coming home," and he just tosses this medicine onto her that he was supposed to get 5-6 days ago, and says, "We caught those bus guys," basically. And she couldn't care less. It had nothing to do with her. And I found that moment extremely special, the way the actors played that, because it was so simple in terms of the plot of that scene. But the meaning behind it to me is very eloquent, what they're doing. That we're implying the greater world outside of this case. That so many people just live unaffected by this because they can't afford to stop. That's when I started to realize that all the little nuanced notes I was trying to hit, we might be able to hit them.
In terms of at what point of time did I feel I was completely immersed and consumed by it? The first time I met Rishi, and it was in the first 5 minutes, out of which 3 went in offering him tea and coffee. And then he started telling me about what it was. He didn't narrate it to me. He just started talking about what it was. And I remember sitting there in the first 5 minutes saying yes. And very calmly, I got up from my chair, picked up a tissue box, put it in front of me, wiped, and I said, please continue. And that's the moment I was completely into it. After that, I was just consumed by the show. That's it. I was just consumed by the story. And I was consumed by the character.
So talk a little bit about season 2.
Before we go into that, I actually just want to deflect that question to Pooja as well, because there's a really good chance this project was dead in the water until she read it.
Pooja, you want to talk about that?
Gosh. Trust him to get into like everyone's deepest, darkest. It was just something that we never thought we would do because we were not producers. I was talking to Richie because I'd promised him 10 years ago that we'll distribute Amal when it came back for rights, and that's what we were talking for. And we were doing a sale for Amal and Siddharth for Netflix and Amazon, and he said, hey, you guys should produce this. You should look at this. And it was a gigantic thing. It was a 500-page thing. And I said, I don't know. I don't think we can produce. I don't think we can do anything. I didn't know what it was about. He kept saying the police thing. He had always mentioned in our years that I'm doing something with Delhi police. And for me, just that one word, Delhi police, or something he wants to do about Delhi police, I was like, not interested, really. I've also grown up in Delhi. I just felt like I have nothing. And with that intention, he gave us the material, and I still had my reservations, and so I gave it to Apurva that night. And I said, why don't you read this? Because he's amazing, but it's something to do with the Delhi police, and I don't know. And anyways, I don't think we can take on such a big thing. She woke me up first in the middle of the night. Then in the morning, I was like, just go, go, go. And she'd been crying the whole night. She'd been throwing up. And she said, you have to read this. We have to do this. And I said, Delhi police and this reaction, what is wrong with you? She's like, it's Nirbhaya. And I was like, oh my God, no. I mean, what? And she's like, yep, just stop everything, cancel all your meetings, read this. And that was the start of it. And nobody could stop. Like I read the first episode, I had that same reaction that Shefali's, and Rasika and Rajesh. Rajesh has known him for years, so he probably was expecting something like this to come from the first pages. But for me, it was that. And I was like, we have to do it. I don't think there's two ways about it. How, and I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. And so we told him we're doing it. And he's like, yeah, but how? And we're like, we don't know. We'll figure it out as we go along. But yeah, this needs to be done. I think it was that. It was important.
And at which point did you all decide, or did you decide that season 2 was on the cards? Was it well into season 1? Was it after the success of season 1? When did that decision come about?
I think Richie has written this as a one-season thing. It was his story of, taking us through this journey. But as we all know, the world goes on, and you love the characters, which are characters for a lot of, the audiences, and they want to see them again. They want to know more about them. And so the idea was that, you could go on and create, seasons with new crimes. And that's what we've done.
And the law enforcement's take on this when they watch the series, can any of you share what kind of reaction the law enforcement has had?
Positive. Very, very positive. Yeah, I've heard from a lot of IPS officers, Delhi police officers. I've been contacted by many officers with their own cases saying, can you do my case? I mean, it's been really very positive. I know of a few cases of people who have joined the Indian Police Service after seeing the show.
Wow.
It's had a really positive effect with those. And a lot of people higher up who have been in the police or the police services or specific police forces for years who have said, yes, this was accurate. And nobody has, no team has gone and shown our situation.
And we've seen so many wonderful posts from all of you about kind of pictures behind the scenes, kissing each other, hugging on each other, really the intimacy on set, which is so lovely to see on social media. I guess you guys really did become very much a very tight-knit family, right, Shefali?
I had a hangover. I did not want to leave that place. I was just miserable. I mean, suddenly I woke up and I said, but I don't have a life besides this. This is what it is for me. So I was just like, I don't want to go home. I don't, just keep me on the set.
Do you remember your last shot where the phone wasn't working?
Yes.
And it just wouldn't work? We had one more shot to do of her phone in her hand, and it just wouldn't work. And it was like every take, it was like, it's fine. You're just here a little longer. It's fine. It's even better. You don't have to go. You don't have to go. You don't have to go.
And it was a pretty unceremonious rap, I must say, because I remember walking onto that set in the morning, and in my mind I'm thinking, this is the last time I'm going to wear this badge and this uniform, and I'm getting goosebumps even when I say this right now. And I go on set and I see everyone, and I look at Rishi and I look at him like, and then I sit in the car to do this shot. By the end of it, I'm like, please just wrap me up for God's sake. Because all we kept shooting was a phone which kept playing some ridiculous music every time we wanted a serious message on it. And I remember distinctly after we got that shot, and everyone was standing around, and we were waiting for Mr. Mehta to call it a wrap for me. And he just said, okay, let's move to the next set. And I remember Pooja and Apurva saying, you're going to call it a wrap for her. And he was like, yeah, we're running late. Let's move to the next set. So I was like, okay, I'm sitting in the van. I'm happy here.
The true test for me always for a project is that if I really, really miss the people I worked with about a year after the project is done. And I think with this project, I always feel that. I feel a lot of warmth, and I feel like always reaching out to this team and connecting with them in whatever way I can.
I'm just happy that I could see all of you all together.
Yeah, same here. It's been a long time. And Jitin, thank you guys for being so interested in this subject.
Of course.
It's one thing to make something. There's another thing for it to catch fire, and you're a part of that process.
No, we've been watching with such interest and just cheering from the sidelines, doing the little that we can, because we know all of you in our own different ways. And I just kudos, guys. I mean, this really is. It feels proud to be an Indian today. It really does. And this Thanksgiving, I'm so thankful that you did what you did.
Don't want to ever see a woman in this situation.